get the native speaker to switch from English to their native language? Alright, that's the question of the week. I look forward to your response.
Alright, I can give a quick answer on that one, I guess. Well, I would have to say that, let me get some light in here. There we go. Alright, I haven't responded to your question of the week for a while, Mr. McCormick. Just, I've been doing a lot of stuff recently. I've let you know on Facebook, I've been doing a lot of freelance writing recently and trying to get that down pat. I'm pretty much leveling up my English right now. Like, I always forgot, like, at one point I'm like, wait a minute, like, I've been doing all this Japanese, am I forgetting English? Like, that should be a different question of the week, but, no, about this one is, I do have friends, let me see if this is still recording, okay, I do have friends who know Japanese, that they're kind of like me, that I wasn't homeschooled, but this particular person that I'm talking about, anyway, not about that person, it's just like, he's just like me. He spoke English first, and then he learned Japanese on his own for about the same amount of time. He's about the same level I am, and we actually talked once, like at a party, and it was pretty cool. We actually talked like full sentences. We're expressing, there was a couple moments when we were just like you can't come up with the word, and you're trying to go around and like trying to get to the point, and that's like all conversation is. By the way, I hope you. I'm gonna send you a link. I'm gonna put a link in the video that has Mr. Kaufman, as you know, Mr. Steve Kaufman. I thought you might find it interesting if you hadn't already seen it. I'm just gonna put it in for you in my video. But anyway, the video response to the question. It's just what I do is I do have one friend who is Japanese, and he came here from Japan, from Okinawa, when I was in high school, and I was the only one in my band class who studied Japanese. Like, other people watched anime and stuff like that, but they watched stuff on Cartoon Network, on Adult Swim, and they did. I let a couple friends borrow some Japanese DVDs because I had all of Love Hina and I had all of Naruto. Oh no, wait, no, I had all of Love Hina and all of Rurouni Kenshin, and I got that. Rurouni Kenshin was what got me into switching over to Japanese anime, because I would watch it in English and then I would watch one episode in Japanese with subtitles, and then sometimes I would turn the subtitles off, but then I would turn it back on, and then the next episode would be English, and I got tired of it, and I was like, which one do I like better? And I ended up going to the Japanese one because it's a samurai, it's anime, it was made in Japanese. I was like, it made more sense, and I had the subtitles on. That happened for about 4 years, and then 2.5 years ago, I decided no more subtitles ever. If I'm watching something Japanese, I'm going to be doing Japanese only. And unlike Chinese television, Japanese television tends to not have subtitles unless it's like someone says and it's really mumbled. Or I like variety shows. I like shows where just people sit down and talk, like they're just talking to each other, and maybe there's sound effects going on. I like the boink, and beep 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 beep, like all the cartoon sounds in Taiwan shows, and Taiwan is kind of like Japan to me, as far as the media goes. Anyway, what do I do when I because my friend from Japan, I'm not gonna say his name. He would talk to it in English because he studied English in high school, and when he came over he moved over he was staying with a host family in Santa Rosa, and so he came to our school, and he instantly became American. He was just he started playing rugby and stuff like that. And I don't know, it's a pretty cool guy. I think he's in Central America at the moment. I don't know, doing Spanish stuff. But anyway, he speaks to Japanese with his friends, and he reads Japanese books. I think he stopped reading manga. He got tired of Naruto and all that. I still read Naruto and other stuff, but you know, only in Japanese, and I'm way behind. I'm only on like chapter 450 or something. I'm still at the part with pain, and all that, and like you know, spoiler. You know, like when Sasuke just killed um, his brother Itachi, and then Madara just told the whole story of the whole Uchiha Ichizoku, the Uchiha family clan, the Uchiha clan, and explained that they actually it was war between the two tribes and the two families. I forgot the other one, and so one of them used like they had like a whole clan that summoned apparently the QB, the fox demon, the Nine Tails, QB. Anyway, off topic. Whenever I talk to him, he ends up speaking English. What I end up doing is, instead, you know, I always feel it's rude to kind of insinuate on continuing, like, you know, if I speak to Japanese and someone, I'll try to use as much Japanese until I can sense that they're a little uncomfortable or ticked off, because I have a lot of friends who speak only English, and then my other friends who speak Spanish, and they're learning, and they're trying to ask me for help and for learning Spanish, and I have a different take on it because I learned Japanese first. And then I started learning Spanish the same way I learned Japanese, and I noticed that I had to take a little different approach to Spanish because it doesn't have the kanji study. And and I'm used to learning Chinese characters and learning radicals and seeing them all the time. I dream with Chinese characters in them. Like there'll be like random Chinese like I'll be writing Chinese like sometimes, and like because I just do it so often, like during the day, like it's just like in there. I haven't done it for a while. I've been reading a lot and listening. I'm doing a lot of reading and listening. I've been trying to ease up on the output for a little bit because I have a lot of work to do. I have to write articles for a website, textbroker.com. You know, I'm trying to get down a system so I can make my quota each month, and I have a very realistic quota, and I feel like I can get it. But anyway, back topic. I feel it's rude to insinuate on, like when I'm talking to my English friends, I will say some stuff in Japanese, and they'll be like, they'll try to play along. Like my friends who like watch anime and stuff, they'll be like, or they'll be like, nanda. But you know, I'll start talking like I would in English. Like I would say what I would. And then you know, it'd be like, その通りに冷蔵庫をビールを切り出してお願いします and they'd be like, what? And I'd be like, do you want me to get you a beer? Or and like, but you know, the same with people who don't speak English. Like I'll try to speak Spanish with my sister-in-law, and because she's from Salvador, and my roommate's also from Salvador. Well, his family is, but you know, different Spanish, different region. So that's the thing. That's the different thing about Japanese and Spanish. Spanish is all over the place, and Japanese is only in one place, and a couple key places throughout the sea over here, and over here. Yeah, in Hawaii. But anyway, as I was saying, I continue to speak what they feel comfortable with. Like if someone, like I have a couple of people on the internet that I'm friends with on IRC, and I tried talking to a couple of them on Skype, and one lady, she I answered, like called her, and she answered one time, and she was like, she was busy, and like I talked for a bit, and she's like, oh, your Japanese is good. But then like later when I typed online and talked to her, she was just like, oh, your Japanese is hard to understand. And like, I don't like talking to you. You don't use a good grammar. And I'm like, okay. But, I think it's because she wants to learn English. She wants to use Skype to practice English. I think that's what it is. And I think she's just saying that my Japanese is too annoying because maybe she might feel that, like, oh, maybe I should speak English to her instead because I understand English better than I do Japanese. But, it's kind of tough because it's not. I mean, when you learn a language, you're not just learning rules and grammar and stuff. I mean, once you're actually learning like stuff that you have that goes on with people. I mean, people are people, and they have their own rules. They're like their own language of their own. Like when you speak your native language, you're really speaking like a different language for each relationship you have, and most people have at most like 50 relationships, like of people that create real relationships, like a solid friendship or a marriage or your child or the way life works. We all have relationships, and they stay. They keep going, and then they do what they do, and that's a complete other story. The ups and downs of any human relationship. That's one of the things that you can't. Since I'm young, I'm 24. I'm gonna be 25 in January. For a long time, people would always tell me, just because you're young, you don't know everything. You think you know everything. And it's just like apparently I never actually saw the movie Good Will Hunting. I've seen the scene. I've seen the most like a really good scene of it, where they're on the park bench with Robin Williams and what's his name, Damon. Yeah, Matt Damon. Where he's saying like I want to know you. I don't want to know like a book that a book doesn't tell your story, doesn't tell your life. Books are something else entirely, and I've always enjoyed reading and writing, and I am working on a book right now, and when I'm speaking to people who in a different language, like when I'm speaking to my sister-in-law, I'll speak in Spanish, but then I'll get my Spanish is not as good as my Japanese. But I have more practice speaking Spanish than I do have speaking Japanese, because I simply don't know many people speak Japanese. But I am stubborn. I insist that I need my Japanese, and it's part of me. And there's no business reason, there's no monetary reason for me to learn Japanese. Unless you put into account that if I'm happy and I'm doing what I truly want to do in life, then I will be able to be the most monetarily successful because I have the most understanding of myself. And anyway, business-wise, I'm putting my feet in I'm diving right into the ocean of, the workforce. And I've in my area where I live, I've known people, and I've tried applying to jobs every day, and I've known people who've spent 2 years doing that, and they still don't have work, and they're stressed out, and they're homeless, and I am there's no real science to it. I'm really in a tough spot right now, and I'm lucky enough to know some really nice people that I've known for a long time, and I'm making my effort to make my monthly quota, and by writing I can make money, and I want to write. I've been wanting to be a writer since I was 6 years old. I remember the big brown pieces of paper that they gave you in elementary school, and you'd have to write all big because you were learning the letters. And that's when I learned Japanese. I learned the letters first. Because before then, I was just one of those anime fans, and I would just go like, "Hontoni," and be like, "Arigato," or be like, "Itadakimasu." And that is not Japanese. That is buzzwords. That's like saying pendejo. That's not Spanish. That's just a language of its own. That doesn't matter what language you're speaking. You're speaking like a completely different language when you're doing like those memes and stuff. But Japanese is just a way of thinking, and you're expressing what you want to think in a series of patterns and sounds. And there's patterns and sounds that through our society, because people speak different languages, our specific society grew specifically for itself because, it has to. And where am I going with this? What I'm saying is that the reason what language is it's a set of tradition mixed with standardization, mixed with natural causes that we don't understand, and just natural consciousness. And when you have to realize that our country, our world, likes to translate things. And so our language today is based off of the need to translate. Now, what does this mean? This means that everything we say is based off of something translated before. But then again, we have tradition that upholds it, and most people don't even realize this. Most people, I probably don't even understand what I'm talking about, which is always the case. No, I kid. What was I saying? When I'm talking to a person in a language, when I'm talking to my sister-in-law in Spanish, I get really, when I try to speak Spanish alone, it's different than when I try to speak Spanish with other people. Because when I'm speaking Spanish with other people, there's something about the language that I've caught up on. I mean, that I caught it. I noticed this about Spanish, is that Spanish is very in the moment and about what is going on. And, this tends to be what language is general. I mean, most people just say, here, hand me the screwdriver, or, you're not going to be like, that screwdriver over there. I mean, you're going to be like, that screwdriver on the left-hand side of that thing that I didn't mention. But, this is how English works, is you don't mention things because you have implied meanings. This is what I think a lot of people with ESL challenges, they don't understand, is that English has a lot of implied things. When you're talking to someone, you keep shared knowledge that you have with the speaker. If you're talking to someone in English that you've been friends with for 8 years, you're going to be saying things and leaving out a lot of information. You're going to say, for example, say you just got back from a baseball game, and you got some water, and you got some chips, and you got some hot dogs, and you're sitting down, you flip on a movie or something, and you say who wants to pick the movie? And you say, batter up. I don't know. That's way too vague. I don't think I can explain this thought. Anyway, in this video, what was I saying? When I was speaking Spanish with other people, she has trouble speaking English. And when I speak to English with her, she gets the same kind of way. She gets I think she doesn't fully, I think she knows, because she studied English in college for 6 years, but she never had exposure to English. So this is what Mr. Coffin was kind of talking about in that video. I'm going to put the link. What was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. Well, what he was saying in the video, and before that, about the Steve Kaufman video, I'm going to put it in the link below. My sister-in-law learned English, she had 6 years in college. Then she didn't have exposure. She didn't have exposure to the language because she was in El Salvador. She was always speaking Spanish. And as in the video that Mr. Coffin was saying in the video that I'm going to share in the link, he said that people they learn English one time a day. I think it was the Koreans. or the Chinese, and he said then they go home and they watch Chinese TV and then they talk in Chinese. They call their Chinese friends. They only talk in Chinese. And I said in another video about that, I said there's nothing wrong with that. And then a guy told me that like on a comment, he said like what, like you're stupid. And then I was like what, like there's nothing wrong with not learning English if you're okay with that. But if you're not okay with that and you want to learn English, then you're going to obviously want to take the steps to learn English. But the thing is most people who live in today's society who want to get the most out of our society, there's a lot of reasons to learn English, and it's pretty international. People from China speak English, people from Australia speak English, people from UK speak English, people in America speak English, Canada. It's one of those languages that you just need to know. And I feel Chinese is that way. Like when I was young, something must have came to me at one time where I said I need to learn Chinese if I'm going to learn English, because I need to know both of these, because these two are like going to be the most important. For somehow I picked that up. I don't know if I got it from TV, if I got it from a teacher, or everything, or I don't know, maybe a spirit, my ghost of my grandfather. But I just watched Casper, so I watched it yesterday with my sister. So anyway, I don't know. I really do not have many friends who speak other languages. Ironically, I'm kind of I keep to myself a lot, and I like to keep my books. Like as you can see, I have my English section over here. This is CDs and miscellaneous. And then I have English paperwork over here, and this is American Diabetes Association is one of the most solid foundations in America. I mean, they're really unbiased. I have my Japanese corner. I have my textbooks that I'm gonna go through at some point. On Loki, I just got Yu-Gi-Oh! Volume 32. Yeah, check this out. I know that, Moses, that you really like manga and anime. やはり千年パズルを組み立てた遊戯にファローの魂 I just love I love how he plays with words. It's like every single mangaka or sensei, you call him sensei, by the way, a comic book author, like Stan Lee would be sensei, Stan Lee, because he's just like, we can learn from him. There's something I was working on, I'm really not that good at expressing my Japanese in writing, or, I really need to speak with more people. I have a really good Chinese selection. I have the Mudon Ting. This is actually a bunch of, there are a bunch of essays about the Mudon Ting. I forgot the author's name, but he's a very famous author and poet in China. This is about the Shuihu Zhuan. This is a bunch of essays on it. It's the Water Margin. It's one of the three romancing, like Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Like one of those great books. This is about the way the school system and traditions and of China. Yeah, there's always a lot of good Chinese books. This is some biography on a professor or a scholar. The content is usually not important to me. I usually, and then this is my Spanish corner. I got Vistas. Let's see here. Got Vistas, very good Spanish book. I got my own personal bookmarks. Pronunciation is always the first place you start with Spanish. Pronunciation. You pronounce every single letter and learn the name for the letter. That's what I learned in my Spanish class in summer. Out of this 9 weeks that I took the class, the most important thing to remember, well, besides Sarah and a star, are the pronunciation and names of the letters. And then what you do is you pick any word, any language that use the letters in Spanish, and you say them. You say like be, e, te, and that would be beat. And the student would have to write them down without looking at the chart. I mean, it would be just like you'd have to review and then rehearse and then cue them. But that's important because when you're reading, if you don't know how to pronounce it, it's very much of a waste of time, and you're not accomplishing anything if you're just pretending to read Spanish. If you're gonna read in any language, do it right. Do it from like learn how to pronounce the words. Pronunciation is the most important in my opinion, because if you can pronounce it, then other people can at least guess what you meant, even if you don't know what you're saying. Someone who's skilled in the language and has been around it their whole life, like if someone is just learning English and they like speak Vietnamese. I spoke in Vietnamese for 2 hours with someone on Skype. I mean, I spoke in English with the Vietnamese person on Skype for 2 hours, and his English was really good. He just had really hard time pronouncing the language. See, even I have a hard time. But he had a hard time pronouncing because he's used to speaking Vietnamese, and he would say like, "How are you?" Like he would speak a little slower, and that's good because that's probably how I speak in Japanese. I speak slower, and I speak much more. You know, I'm like I'm really like sloppy, and I got my pants down, and like I have a blindfold on, and and I don't know, whatever other funny things you can think of. And then present tense of ser. I always only pay attention to the blue part of each. There's always different, and in Vistas, at least in this version of the book, I always only pay attention to a structura, because the structure is the most important to me. The structure of the language, and then all this other stuff. This is just like stuff that teachers throw in to make class easy, so that people don't get overwhelmed. And I feel that these other things are important still, but I think the book is just like giving you like little keywords and like just giving you general ideas so that you can find your own. Like go to the library and find a book. What's good if you speak English first and you're learning Spanish, it's best to find books in English like Harry Potter, and find translations of them in Spanish, and they're very good. They are very high quality translations. I have to tell you that. And Harry Potter and like Ender's Game, sometimes you can go just by the cover because they use the same cover. But sometimes they change the cover, and sometimes the title is not exactly what you think it was. Like El Juego de Ender is pretty obvious what it is. Ender's Game. But and Harry Potter El Prisionario de Azkaban. It's pretty obvious. So I had. What did I have? I had a list of vocabulary bookmarked, just because it's good to learn some key vocabulary. This is from chapter 1, so if you learn all these and then memorize them through writing your own sentences that are correct sentences. They don't have to be works of art, but they have to be correct. You can't just write words together randomly like I do in Japanese. I do that more for, I think I continued this from another page. Itsu. Okay, it's not a u. Hitotsu dake ga futatsu itta no de aru. Sono tori ni wa このものを探す。今のことには日本語を教えてになるだ。Yeah, very incorrect structure I am terrible, but very incorrect, very out of order. But I'm trying to write a book. I'm trying to understand Japanese at the same time, so I'm trying to get there the best I can, and I'm trying to ask people online for advice. I give them my sentences, and then they try to guess what I meant. Present tense of star. And I also have the workbook and the study book. Anyway, what was I talking about? Okay, I was talking about my bookshelf. A Spanish section. I don't have any Spanish books right now. In English right now, I already read this a long time ago. My friend gave it to me for my birthday. It's the latest book in the Ender's Game series. It has Bean. It's Giant Shadow. I mean, Shadows in Flight. Shadow the Giant was the one before that, and then one before that was Shadow of the Hegemon, and then one before that, Shadow Puppets. And then one before that is Ender's Shadow, and one before that is Children of the Mind. One before that is Xenocide, the one before that, Speaker for the Dead, and the first one was Ender's Game. It is a very amazing book series for English, and it must be equally as good in other languages, but Orson Scott Card speaks English. He's a Mormon, and he doesn't put too much Mormon... He puts Mormon ideals and stuff in his books, but he doesn't, like, push it on people. Mormons are pretty cool. And this is that book I showed in the other video about reinventing local traditions, politics, cultures, and identity in early 19th century Suzhou. And it's like an essay. And Too Far by Rich Shapiro. Never read it yet. And Never Ending Story. I showed you another video. Just random playing cards. Anyway. I don't have a Japanese dictionary anymore. It ripped. It was the Kodansha by Jack Halpern with the skip method. The red one that was about the size of... It was in between these two. This one is amazing Chinese dictionary. I only use the Chinese to English because I'm a Chinese learner, not an English learner. But I mean, I use these sometimes. I mean, like maybe later on when I learn more Chinese, I can go through here and read the, like it has some, sentences and usage. But I like using radicals indexes. And for anybody who may be watching this video who doesn't understand how to use radical indexes, now is the time better than ever. So when you use a radical index, you have to remember that Chinese and Japanese do use different indexing systems, but this system is shared. I'm pretty sure. There might be different specifics as far as radicals go and stroke orders. Like say you're looking for a character, you want to look up this character right here, the one on the left. That means English, by the way. But you don't know that yet if you're just learning Chinese. So you look 1, 2, 3 is the top radical. So go to 3, and you look for the grass radical, which is 42. So I put a halfway marker and an end marker. No, halfway marker and an end marker for the end of it, the beginning of the dictionary. So you go to the halfway marker is way in the hundreds. So you go a couple back. So you go to 42. And then you notice you have to have... Then you count the rest of the strokes. So you do the first one is 3 strokes. Next one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then you go from 42, you go to 5 faces, 5 strokes. Unyen. And then you look for... I'm using the screen, by the way, to look for this. There it is. Inyu. is English. But ing, I'm guessing that is one, when, because of the radical right there. But guessing is not always your friend. So you find 1, 2, 3 strokes, and then 1, 2, or 3. Because sometimes there is one where you do dun dun and then dun dun. Anyway, so 1, 2, 3. Getting way off topic. Isn't it ironic that I understand I'm off topic this time when I'm trying to be off topic? So you find that it's 3, and then you go to 3 strokes. Yes, it starts at 3 strokes. No. You go 3 here. And you find it's number 32. So you go to number 32. And right here you can see, starting with 2 strokes to 3 strokes. And you see Han. So, Ing Han. Han is like the language of the Hans. Hanzi. This is simplified Chinese right here. You can find under Han, you can find the traditional stroke order. If you go, it works just like an English dictionary. This is the Oxford Dictionary. It works just like this. It orders all of them, but it also orders them by tone. It does first tone to fifth tone, or neutral tone. So you go to Han. So it would be in between Han, hung and hung. Oh, it's hong. Eh? Okay. Yeah, there's G. And then how. And then hung. And then hun. 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 And we're looking for hun. So it's fourth tone. Here it is. And you see in parentheses the traditional form. Notice that it has the same character in the traditional form as the word English. Similar. It has a rice field instead of a box. But you can tell that you need to learn both simplified and traditional Chinese. There is no argument. Traditional Chinese exists because it is traditional. Simplified Chinese exists because it changes. We need both. And not to mention that if you know traditional Chinese, you have access to literature, which is just amazing. And it's written in history, part of the world, in a piece of writing that you can read if you know traditional Chinese. And that to me is really amazing, because in Taiwan, students learn traditional Chinese, and so they have access to all their historical documents, and it's preserved. The only thing is that simplified needs to exist to save ink, and to save people's hands, and to save people time. While traditional works equally as well in saving time. It has for different reasons. And also, simplified needs to exist simply because some people don't learn traditional. And, this is something we cannot change. They will always be together in every form of this universe. There will always be simplified and traditional. And there's nothing wrong with it, and there's nothing bad with it. And this to me is why Chinese is so amazing. Anyway, I don't have any friends who speak Chinese. I have met a few people. I have had a few conversations in Chinese. but they were learning Chinese like I was, so we were all kind of on the same level. Except they knew more than me because I spoke to somebody who helped my friend move in on 4th of July, and back in high school he used to study Chinese, and then he hasn't done it for a while. So he was, I don't know, maybe he life changes, and for me it's fresh on my mind because I pretty much, if I watch TV, I pretty much only watch Chinese TV. The Sino TV, I think it's this California station that was collaborated together in California on cable, Comcast, channel 172, by the way. I don't think it's. Sometimes it plays stuff from in Cantonese, so they have a certain amount of time dedicated. I think the channel was founded by people from Canton speaking areas or Cantonese speakers. So I don't know. There's actually a lot more Cantonese speakers in California than Mandarin speakers, because most people who speak Mandarin, they tend to live in China, that's or Taiwan. But that's why I want to go to Taiwan. I want to go there and with my friends and be their guide, because I'll be the only one who knows the language. My friend wants to learn, but he's one of those persons that he's one of those people that he wants to learn the language, and he doesn't want to be a tourist. He wants to actually go there and live there, but he hasn't learned the language yet. Some people learn differently. Some people wait until they need to learn it, but I did not wait. I knew when I was 8 years old that Chinese and Japanese were my life. And anyway, can't just read comic books all day. I tried that, and at a point, you will start losing your mind. Yeah, you need to go outside sometimes. I went on a 5-hour walk the other day. I don't know if you've ever done that, but because sometimes when I'm learning languages, I listen to, I know you know this, because you listen to stuff thousands of times, so you know exactly what I'm talking about right here. And that is that I always have sound going. Like right now, I don't have sound going. I am actually, I'm starting to get, because of my exercising adventures. Before, I would get really ticked off if there's silence, but now I can, soak in the silence and let it out, because I realized that your brain needs to put the information together. And in order to do that, it needs silence. It needs a break. It's like a Super Saiyan, Saiyans, apparently when they come close to death, and then they recover, they get stronger. And this is pretty motivational, because but I mean, if you don't let yourself recover, then you just end up keep going towards death, and you're just gonna keep going you're never gonna fully recover. But if you recover and then you do it again, it's a lot easier because you're stronger. And so anyway, what I did was I biked to Napa. It's about 52 miles. I biked to the freeway entrance, and then I turned around and then I started going back, and I had to call a friendly police officer stopped me. I mean, he didn't stop me. I was already stopped, and I turned around. I was waiting for someone to because I didn't have a cell phone, and I don't have a cell phone. And this friendly police officer stopped. He wanted to make sure everything was all right. He didn't make sure if my bike broke or I was hurt. And he ended up calling my friend, and they picked me up, and they weren't too happy, but they ended up saying just don't do it again, But now I know my limits. Is that if I do that again, I should turn around earlier, and also leave earlier in the day, because it got to nighttime, and even though I have a bike light, it's still pretty dangerous on the road. Anyway, I got a lot of thinking done. And it actually wasn't thinking, brooding. It was more like I was just observing the world around me. And I was totally in the moment. This 8 hours went by. Actually, it was more like 7.5 hours. 7.5 hours went by. But in my mind, only a small amount of time. It wasn't like a flash went by. I felt the time. I knew I was out there. It was more like I felt this world outside of myself. and like I had plenty of water, I had plenty of craisins, dried cranberries, in case I had a sugar low. But I didn't have a sugar low that time. That was the one time I went out for a bike ride. I took my insulin before I went, or like several hours before I went. It takes 24 hours. It works over 24 hours. I need to pick more up at the CVS today. Maybe tomorrow. Yeah, I have the other one. Anyway, question of the week 23. So, I'm gonna do a video response that's gonna ask you a question. Question of the week number 1. Now, when you're coming up with a question, it's good to understand what a question is. I'm going to put a link in the description going directly to the question later, so that you don't have to wait through the whole video. But, if my videos are pretty much really kind of raw. I don't really purposely do it that way. It's just because I don't have the time and dedication and to do video editing. And I don't see a reason for it, because right now my channel is not a TV show. It's me talking. And I don't think that needs editing. And I don't think I need a HQ camera with HD 1080i for a video of me talking. Like, that seems like a waste to me. And I don't like wasting my resources. I really like preserving my energy, because I really don't have that much energy. But I have the illusion of having a lot of energy because I save my energy for when I need it. And I also learn how to use energy more efficiently. And also, mainly, I don't know. Question of the week number 1. If you didn't make money off of learning languages, what do you think you'd be doing in your life right now as a family? And also, as a part 2 to the question, where do you, how long, where do you see yourself in, where do you see yourself, while your kids are going to school? Because, as you know, raising a family is really, unique. And, I've noticed a few things in your channel, about the way you do videos, is that you kind of, I don't want this to sound offensive, because this is it's only kind of messed up in my mind, and my mind kind of warps things. This is why I'm kind of not a fan of the level up videos, is because I think it's kind of, maybe it's the Japanese in me, I don't know, but I think it's kind of rude to go up to people and just ask them where they're from and start talking to them in a different language, because they're busy, they have their own lives to live, and they're out there in the store, picking up food for dinner. And then some random person, I know it's different when you're, speaking their language, because they're probably used to, no foreigner, no, person from, non-Asian person or whatever, that speaks their language, so that's a little different. But I just don't agree with it, because maybe that's kind of why I kind of have a fear of approaching people. Mostly because because I feel weirded out when people randomly come up to me and talk to me that I don't know, and that's just me. I'm not weirded out in a way where I'm scared. I'm more like if I'm walking with someone and we're talking, and then and we say something about something that's maybe on the internet or something, and I say something about oh yeah, when we were watching The Guild, or I don't know. When we were watching that video, and then we said a inside joke or something, and then some guy says yeah, or no, an easier one would be if you're talking about the DMV, and then you walk by, and then someone sitting down on the bench waiting for a bus just says yeah, I was at the DMV yesterday, Like that. I mean, that's to me that's kind of creepy. I don't know about you, but for some reason, just like people coming up to me and saying, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, what country are you from? Hey, hey, hey." That's kind of I don't know. It's kind of intimidating, and I just want to go home. Like, but you know, and you know, I don't know the specifics of how you make your videos. I don't know if this is agreed beforehand, and it's just like you're just reenacting something that happened before or whatever. I don't know. I'm not saying anything about that. I'm not not saying it's bad. Not saying it's good. All I'm saying is that I think that it's kind of rude. Anyway, I also think it's kind of intrusive when people take videos of their children and put it on the internet, because there are a lot of weirdos out there. But then again, you can't live your life in fear. And also, if you know, weirdos get found out and they get caught and they get punished. So, you know, before anything happens. But, you know, it's just, I just don't feel like it's, you know, like a baby doesn't have the decision of whether or not they want to have a camera in front of them. And I just think that, you know, it's a lot like when you have baby pictures in a photo album and, you know, like your mom shows it to like all your relatives and your uncles and your aunts and stuff, and you're all embarrassed. But, you know, it's kind of the same thing. But I think with video, I don't know. I just think that you should talk with your. That's something that's between you and your wife. So, you know, that's between you and her and your children. And you know, you are an amazing father. You have a legacy. You have this freaking thing going on for you. And I am aspiring to it, and I'm trying to come up with my own thing over here in California. And just like, you know, Steve Coppin found his own thing in Canada, Vancouver. And, you know, I have to do things differently because I'm a different person. I live in a different place. I have different ideas about the world. I have different skills. I have different, you know, this whole thing that we go through. And, you know, I think that, you know, that you're onto something, you know, and so is Kaufman, you know. Like, you guys have a business model that works, and you know, it helps people, and you have thousands of videos. I mean, you have over 1,000 videos. This is amazing to me. I haven't even reached 100, and you've done 10 times that amount. And all I can say is that, you know, another question of the week, part 3, where do you get your inspiration? Like, like, I know I know what the answer is because I've heard you answer this before, and I'm just thinking about like you today, right now, Moses McCormick today, not Moses McCormick. You know the videos, what the videos say. What do you say today? And I'm gonna end it with that. What do you say today?